Michele Roberts has been
Michele Roberts
has been voted in as
the first female to be named the leader of
a major sports union in North America.
This is where it all started. This was home for 13 years. You know, when I was young, we weren't allowed to cross the street. So this literally was where I grew up.
For the new head of the National Basketball Players Association, the job is a homecoming. Michele Roberts' office is 2 miles from this Bronx housing project, where she and her 4 siblings were raised by their single mother.
What memories do you have standing here?
Her yelling down that the lights are on, it's time to come upstairs. And she would tell us, I saw you talk to that boy.
Oh, really? You got in
Yes.
trouble for that?
Well, she just made sure that we always knew that she was watching.
Roberts' childhood home was right next to a basketball court.
How good of a player
It
were
was
you?
terrible. Nobody wanted me on their team.
Were you the last one selected?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
if at all. Sometimes they'd say, okay, we've got enough.
And now you're the head of the NBPA.
Which is why some people find that amusing.
Yeah? How do you find it?
I think it's the greatest job I've ever had.
When she was interviewed for the job, Roberts immediately brought up the obvious. Union officers James Jones and Andre Iguodala were there.
First thing she said was, okay, let's tackle the elephant in the room.
She said that, let's clear the air. Let's get past it. I'm a woman. As you can tell, I'm a woman. And we laughed and we chuckled.
And then she knocked that out pretty quick. It didn't take that long for guys to get past that.
For her to acknowledge it early meant she understood that it would be a big deal, not just for us, but for the world.
There are people that believe that because I'm a woman, I'm not that smart, I'm not that aggressive, I'm not that successful. And I love those people because those are the idiots that frankly decide that they don't have to take me seriously and they don't work as hard and they think that I'm not really competition and they don't put their A game on the table. With them, I can put my C game on the table and wipe the floors with them.
That's kind of cocky. Where do you get your attitude?
Working with men, frankly, working with men. No one is interested in someone who is sort of self-deprecating all the time. It's not the world I've operated in.
That world had nothing to do with sports. Roberts was an attorney in Washington, D.C. for 33 years, first as a public defender, then as an acclaimed litigator for prominent firms.
If you're waiting for Kato Kalin to give you the truth, you've got a long wait.
She also occasionally appeared on CNN, analyzing cases such as O.J. Simpson's.
What questions would you put to O.J. Simpson?
The 4 or 5 very difficult questions that Mr. Simpson has not probably satisfactorily answered. The shoes.
In her new job, Roberts says she hopes to restore credibility and trust to the Players Association after its longtime leader, Billy Hunter, was fired last year, accused of nepotism and mismanaging union funds.
Yeah, I think we're all winners.
And in the eyes of many, Hunter pursued a flawed collective bargaining strategy, battling team owners tooth and nail without having the leverage to win.
He lost the players over $1 billion in 2 lockouts. I'd say he got his butt kicked badly.
Once the league's most powerful player agent, David Falk had a client list that included Michael Jordan. Falk says Roberts' focus should be on growing the game, not fighting NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and team owners over the players' revenue share.
There'll be all sorts of new revenue streams, and that's going to have the biggest impact on how much the players make. And for that, they have to act like partners. Not as employees, they're partners.
Michele, all yours, and welcome to your new job.
I just want to make sure that they get their fair share. We are not a union that's going to lay down and simply acquiesce to what the owners want. The owners expect Adam Silver to fight for their interests. My players expect me, and they will see me fight for theirs.
Roberts isn't predicting acrimony, but says she's no fan of the players' 50% share of revenues or the league's salary cap.
It just strikes me as un-American that we would ever say you should make less than someone's willing to compensate you. So I am, frankly, philosophically opposed to any system that says we are going to artificially limit how much money you can make.
Do you believe commissioners should be the judge and the jury?
No, of course not. What's the matter with you?
Roberts says her love of the law began in the shadow of Yankee Stadium at Bronx Supreme Court.
How long has it been since you've been here?
Let's see, if I admit my age, probably over 40 years.
Her mother spent her free time watching trials, and Roberts joined her after school, starting in the 2nd grade.
The first courtroom I went into, I thought I was watching a play. And I didn't know what was going on for a long time, but I just knew it was exciting.
Soon, Roberts says, her own goal became clear: to become a public defender and serve her community.
A new MBPA executive.
And while she now represents rich and famous athletes, Roberts says her fundamental goal and her constituents haven't really changed.
I don't think we turn our backs on them because they've so-called made it. They need to have representation too.
Thank you very much.
It is important to our community that this union do well. What lesson do we send to our children if we allow an entity that's primarily African American to fail?
And that's the type of leader we want, and that's the type of leader we have and that we need.
I haven't called her a beast to her face. I can see it though. You know, I'd be pretty afraid if I was anyone else on the opposite end of the table.
Hey, Dan?
Very confident in what she can do.
The 58-year-old Roberts, who is single and doesn't have children, says she feels a maternal instinct toward the majority of players, as they share a bond forged by similar backgrounds. As a candidate to lead the union, she told the players that Kevin Durant's MVP speech evoked her childhood memories.
He said, you know, Mom, I know that there were times when you went to bed and you hadn't eaten.
When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP.
Just completely blew me away. And I said, I know that that's your story for a lot of you, and that's my story too. And so that's the passion that I bring to this job. I really care about these guys. And I may be a little bit too maternal, but I can't help it, I'm old.
Why are you emotional?
Because, you know, that's sort of, that's the connection between us, and it's real. They weren't supposed to be here. And I admire and respect that so much. I wasn't supposed to be here either. I wasn't supposed to be anything except probably a grandmother with, with 17 children and no husband and on welfare. That would have been a good bet for Michele Roberts. I know I'm going to work harder than probably anyone alive. And I might be blowing smoke up my own rear end, but I actually think I actually know that when I put my mind to it, there's no one that can best me.